Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
Hello, everyone. This is Roger Chen from University of San Francisco Center for Business Studies and Innovation in Asia Pacific. First, Joan, we want to thank you for supporting and joining our interview program. Would you please briefly introduce yourself?
Sure, Roger. Thank you for inviting me. It's good to be here. So my name is June Yang. A little bit about myself. Most recently, I was at Google Cloud for the past 5 years. And first, I was responsible for the compute infrastructure, AI infrastructure, and block storage business at Google Cloud, which is the largest business unit within Google Cloud, with multiple billions of dollars of revenue annual basis. The second part of Google Cloud, I was asked to take over the AI business. So I was responsible for the whole portfolio of AI products coming out of Google Cloud, as well as industry solutions that's applying AI and other advanced technology to various specific industry sectors as well. Prior to that, I was at VMware for almost 10 years and did a variety of roles and responsibility over there. I was responsible for vSphere business, which is a flagship business for VMware for a number of years. And I also had the opportunity to do in-house startup, and that's jointly sponsored by both VMware and Dell and so forth. And so it's been great to kind of running and scaling different business inside these corporations. And currently, I'm on the board of several corporations, both public and private. So I think certainly being able to innovate and scale businesses are really, some of the key discussions we have at the boardroom as well.
How to grow an early stage, Horizon 2, business.
But how about Horizon 2 project, which, is in a very different phase, facing different issues. Mm-hmm. So for Horizon 2 type of business or projects, what's your kind of a considerations for continuing investing, double down, or shrink, or pivot? And what's your kind of thoughts on there?
Yeah, I think you need, so when I think about Horizon 2, right, at that point, at least, the product has established some beachhead in some area. And right. Perhaps it's, to a particular segment of the customers, right? To say, hey, we're good for, this particular segment of customers. Then the question is say, hey, is this market big enough for this? Or do I need to augment and expand into other other customer segments? So for example, maybe we start with one particular industry, and then we're going to see, hey, can these same type of use cases be translated to other industries? Can we make headways in there? Because that expands your product revenue potential significantly. So that's the sort of area. But if we cannot find more opportunity to say, hey, look, this is going to be a top side, a $300 million business, then you would invest accordingly to be able to sort of justify that $300 million business. But look, now if we say, hey, we can find another $500 million opportunity, then of course you would invest more on that side to be able to justify that. So I think that's kind of one area, right? I think, on the Horizon 2, a lot of it's actually working through to figure out how do you scale this very quickly, right? Because the initial, in a lot of the earlier days, right, it's like, I think it's tend to be, more one-off sales, right? Your product people, your engineering is actually working with the early adopter customers to make that happen. And by the time you sort of, got enough of the, wins and so forth, now you want to see, okay, how do I be able to rinse and repeat this? And I need to do this not with my core team, but I need to really have an ecosystem of, sellers and partners and so forth to be able to help me to do this. And that's the only way you can really scale this into a multi-billion-dollar business. So the investment, a lot of the investment, it will tend to be going on the go-to-market side, right? Can we actually, do we need to expand the sales team? Do we need to provide more training? Do we need to find resellers? Do we need to find channel partners? Do we need to find, consulting partner to help the customer implementing this? And et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's a lot of thinking just really in terms of how do I scale the business, right? And, there are also a lot of times as you think about from a product side, can I get into adjacent use cases, right? Again, this is more about a market expansion opportunity. Your initial use cases, might only get you to be so big. Then you think about, okay, can I actually expand the use cases to something else, in which case I can actually be able to, kind of significantly grow. In those cases, you definitely want to invest.
Does that mean actually, because when you're talking about the de-risking considerations, when you evaluate, very early stage project, based upon your description, does that mean actually you really don't do a lot of a detailed so-called TAM analysis, total addressable market analysis, because, as you mentioned, even at this, horizon 2, you're still kind of analyzing, discussing, thinking how to kind of expand into different verticals, different markets, which is clearly the total addressable market issue. So then how do you kind of clarify so-called the market size issue in a very early stage?
Yeah, I think there's you think about TAMs and SAMs and so forth, right? So when you look at the TAMs, right, I think you can look at some of the top-down numbers and so forth. It gives you sort of a ceiling in terms of where it could go, right? And often initially you won't be able to go after the entire TAM. You're going to go to some subsegments of that, right?
Yeah.
And so to be able to establish your beachhead and so forth. And then the question to say, hey, no, how do I take this technology and then what's the next adjacency I want to go into, right? Whether it's on the customer segmentation side or it's on the, sort of from a sort of a use case expansion side, right? So for example, right, like, at Google, right, well, my product was search, right? And it's, really taking Google quality search and making that available to for enterprise customers, right? And so the initial market that we started with was retail. There was a lot of competition for retail. There's a lot of urgent need for it. And, there's a very demonstrated value that, Google search has over a lot of the homegrown and other alternative solutions out there. So that was a natural fit, right? But that only has, so big of a market, right? Then you think about, okay, can I take the search and apply it to another industry? And with, fairly, like a fairly small investment to be able to go into the next industry. So then the next sector we discovered was really kind of focused around media entertainment, because there's, all these movies and contents and so forth, and people wanted to be able to find those. And all the content provider needs this type of a search capability. So those are examples of, like, you start with a use case and that you clearly can win, and then you think about, okay, now how do I actually expand this into bigger markets so I can have bigger revenues and so forth.
So those kind of thinkings happen, or those kind of thinkings or analysis happens when you kind of first evaluate the project at the H3 level, right? Because
I think it happens. This is an iterative process. This is not a waterfall process, right? Initially, you're going to sort of scan to say, hey, we think potentially we can go into this market, this market, this market.
Okay.
Right? We're going to start with here. And then when you get initial traction, then you reiterate again to say, okay, now let's figure out what is the next market we want to go to. And then you sort of go through kind of another mini, stage, kind of horizon 3 analysis, if you will,
right,
to figure out the next market. So this is never really horizon 1, 2, 3. It's never just kind of like a straightforward waterfall process. Right. There's actually a lot of iterations in between as you kind of evaluate.
Thank you for watching.